Hi there, I'm Maria Cristina Bertoli and I'm the Director of Studies here at Personal English. Welcome to this grammar video lesson number 10. Today I'm going to expand on the main differences between British English and American English, not to be mixed up. Okay, in the first place, I want to get started by pointing out that the three main differences are pronunciation, as we're going to see in detail, vocabulary, and spelling. And I would like to get started from pronunciation. Now, I have an American accent, and the way we pronounce this sentence is, "This is my car." One of the main differences in pronunciation between British English and American English is that American is a rhotic language, meaning that you hear the R's. So in this case it would be car. In British English, by contrast, that would be car. This is my car. And this is even more evident in RP, which is received pronunciation, spoken by the elite in the UK and also, of course, the royal family. And you may hear, for example, Kate Middleton saying perhaps, and what she means is perhaps. Why? Because the R frequently drops in British English. That's one of its main features, actually. Okay, another big difference is here. I would say this is such a romantic gesture in American English, but that would be pronounced slightly differently in British English. It would be romantic. So we frequently add this sound, O, and that's called schwa in British English, and it often accompanies a sort of this, when you pronounce O, it's actually O, so it's actually pronounced schwa. That's the second difference, and this is one of the main markers of British English in the first place. This is also very different and very interesting because vowels often change, and this also holds true for other varieties of English, like New Zealand English, where vowels do not correspond to either American English or British English. This would be "I'd like to dance" in American English, with this sort of vowel in between A and E, dance. In British English it wouldn't be that way. It would be "I'd like to dance," with this sort of deep dance. Okay, also some words are just pronounced differently, and that's it. And one of the most interesting cases, in my opinion, is this one, which is pronounced as reschedule in American English, but surprise, surprise, reschedule in British English. So these are among, I would say, the most evident differences in pronunciation, even though there are many more. But for the sake of clarity today, we're gonna only limit ourselves to these ones. Vocabulary is also different in American English and in British English. For example, lift. This is something that you will never hear in the USA. Interestingly, if you speak American English that is more internationally understood, sorry you Britons, it's not my fault, and especially if you travel to the USA and you use British words, you risk being misunderstood all the time. By contrast, if you go to the UK and you speak American English, 99% of the times you will be understood anyway. So my suggestion is, for the sake of clarity, go for American English whenever you're in doubt and you're not in the UK. So lift, that would correspond to elevator in American English. And also pavement. Pavement is not used in the USA. What we say is sidewalk. Jumper, and I'm trying to imitate the accent here, I'm not very good at giving an impression of British accent, but jumper actually is sweater in American English. Trousers, that is also not used in American English because they're what we say is pants. Not to be mistaken for panties, which is a quite different thing, underwear. And finally, this is such a huge mystery for American people. I used it once when I was in Boston and they didn't understand me. When I asked, excuse me, is this the beginning of the Q? And the guy looked at me and he probably understood the Q, which is quite different. And why didn't he understand me? Because in American English we simplify it and we say, is this the beginning of the line? Okay. So these are just a few examples. There are way more, and vocabulary is probably the most evident difference between British and American English. Finally, something very interesting, spelling differs as well. Okay, now we tend to think that this is the only correct spelling. Well, it's not. This is UK English and this is American English. Basically what we do is dropping the U. Same story with flavor and so on and so forth. Perfectly correct in both versions. The important is you are consistent in using spelling. You cannot spell a word in American English and the following one in British English. It's confusing. You have to stick to the same principles. How to do so? Well, the principles are super easy. That is, when it's closer to the etymology of the word itself, to the origins, well, that's British spelling, where you have a bunch of words, for example, or of letters, which are not pronounced. By contrast, if it's closer to actual pronunciation, it means that that's the American spelling, such as is the case here, where you have this silent U that you don't pronounce and you directly drop it in the American version. Same story here, they're both correct, as you can now figure out for yourselves. Catalog is spelled this way, as British, closer to the origins, and this is closer to pronunciation, well, that's American. Program and program, same story all along. US, UK. And final example, theater and theater. Well, this is American. Why? Because it's closer to actual pronunciation, and this is closer to the origins and the etymology. So that's once again British, just like center, spelled this way. Well, there we go. That's all for today. It's just an introduction, but hopefully we will soon get a chance to discuss this stuff in more detail. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye bye.